Hello and welcome to the Cat Collective. I'm Nina, I'm the channel for this channel. And let's start. I'm not feeling in a high place for this reading, but we will get there. See why. Skywriting the Fates, Spirit of the River. Movement toward adventure. Teachability in the that was reversed. I think that's somewhat important. Do I want to pull another one? Yeah, let's see. Stranger curiosity. Okay. Oh, let's see what else we have. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Oh yeah. Uncertainty. Yeah. So what I'm getting is something like this reminds me of this skull, reminds me of contaminated land, toxic land, a toxic landscape. Something that, you know, when a cow or what, not that, that's not a cow, but you know, when you'd eat something that is contaminated from a land that is contaminated, when you consume it, I wouldn't say that it is like what am I like? Yeah, it's not so much about this. It feels like the internet almost. Is the internet contaminated land? And hollow, yeah, hollow, yeah, that's it. I've got the feeling that well, you went through lessons online, right? In a way that you learned how to read between the lines and to get receive more than meets the eye, just like more messages, something more, right? But it feels like the internet is contaminated land because it never stops, and it's a bit like it feels a bit like because it came this way, it feels like you have the feeling you have learned everything that you had to learn online to apply it to your dream world, because if you do participate in dream work and you write them down or you just record them or whatnot, then you might notice some similarities between abstract interpretation of things, you know, subtle reading in between the lines online, and also with the egg pineal gland, with the messages that you receive in dreamscape. And it made you think, you know, it's almost a bit of, I think you really discovered or watched everything online with a lot of curiosity, and you saw the magic in it. That's what I'm seeing with those. And at first it might have appeared to be your dream. your dream, you know, this dream that you know, when you are in a way immersed in being online, you know, how we all are these days, just with our phone glued to our eyeballs almost, right? But I think you came to the after really seeing this, and maybe also this with the skywriting, you know, that's what I mean. It's this skywriting, what you see, what, you know, it might appear that this is just speaking to you alone and to no one else, right? That those subtle messages, they are just for you, and they are only for you, and something is speaking to you from there, right? But when you put out something, when you skywrite something, you also realize that you put something out there that could be read in a totally different way than what you really had in your mind. It's this, depending which consciousness is focused on the skywriting, it will appear from each filter in a different way, right? So if you write something, you know, if you say something and you see, you maybe can see through the eyes of a different consciousness how they would maybe how they would read it, and then you realize that you are bringing a message that you don't really want to bring, because it doesn't reflect the truth of what you really had in mind. And this might be something that you have discovered. And also, in a way, you know, this hollow bone, it's like you had a dream. Maybe you have, or maybe you have still this dream. And it feels to me that you felt for a long time like this person here, without a face, without an identity, without a reason for being here. And it could be that you saw the inspiration in something that you saw online, and you thought that this was it. It probably it feels like this was. You were so certain that this was your path, but every time you walked it could be that you went through different routes. It always became dark, and you always had to put yourself out there. And you know, it's a loop. It's every time you walk towards what you think is your dream. Once you've made this, maybe you've started several attempts to do something online. I'm really getting online. Or just, you know, to participate in something online, or something that you saw or were inspired by, or someone maybe, or several people even, that you were inspired by online, and then you dig deep and you think it's like with the water, you know, it reaches your consciousness. There's a lot of magic involved. You know, it reaches your consciousness, but every time it turns dark. And you're wondering, like, how can this be that it first felt so right and after that it feels so wrong? And, you know, this is a sign. This printing error in this card is a sign, because it's just putting something on top of the image that wasn't supposed to be there, that you did not intend to portray, you know? It's almost like it's this typical when you say something and it gets torn apart, judged, or whatnot online, and never to the way you intended. And it's and maybe also the way towards what you wanted to achieve is also not as fruitful as you wanted it to be. It could be, you know, there's a lot of things with online, you know, a lot of people just want to build their business online, right? It's like, there's a lot of money related things also in this, right? And it's a loop, and it never stops. And wherever you go, it could be that you started several things, and maybe you had some unwanted attention, and then you removed yourself from this part, but you ended up being somewhere else, and it follows you. And you don't want that. You want to be free of all that. And it feels to me that also, suddenly, the weird banana is always a card for someone who is an outsider, someone who is different, someone who is completely out of the system. And I think what you were looking for online was also a belonging, not just a sense of belonging, right? A belonging. And it might have been that you felt like that in a way, right? But it turns dark every time. And hollow. Like a hollow bone, like empty. Your dream becomes empty. And maybe if you look in the mirror, because what we do online, we paint a picture of ourselves, right? But when you look in the mirror and look what this has done to you, the influence of all of this, the influence of everything your consciousness and your fingers have surrounded you online with, everything that you were engaged with, right? And then the algorithm that is beyond it, and also the subtle messages that you just receive when you just look at some random things. It's a manipulation, and it gets you all up in the head, right? It splits you a bit. It splits you in a way that it's not really, it's like 1,000 paths, 1,000 or 1,000,000 timelines. Yeah, every decision you make is a part of a new timeline, right? But I think you are at the point where you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to participate in any of those systems anymore. It's just, it will, but the thing is, pulling the plug. It's like, looks like this is a plug almost. Removing yourself from all of this. It might lead you to feeling like this again, like an outsider, like the weird banana again, because you're not the one who you don't want to do this anymore, and you are therefore again alone. Or are you again alone, or have you always been alone? That's the thing. When you look at what happens these days with interactions, or maybe if I'm getting this mirror almost. It's like when you look in the mirror and see a different person than what you see online, it makes you feel different, probably. The difference, and how you interacted with life, and how disconnected you were from the moment. It could lead you to want to just pull it all away and just extract yourself from all of this. At least for a time. That's what the divine timing says. But it feels so final. It feels like there's a lot of sadness also with this, because you might feel that you also extract yourself from everything you've been before. It's almost an ego death. Yeah, it's kind of an ego death card, and it's also associated with so much sadness because you're giving up your dreams. You're giving up what you thought you wanted for a lot of times, you know. You're giving up what you thought you would make you happy, because this is not what makes you happy, because it's not real. It's not authentic enough. It's there's nothing real about it anymore, and it's always a misinterpretation and manipulation, and you don't want to participate in manipulation, right? You know, and it's such a judgmental place where everybody tears you apart and just gives you advice that you didn't ask for, or is just putting their blah on top of what you are and who you are and what, you know. And you, if you want to put it in a even worse way, right, if you have collected some numbers already, maybe it could be that there's also this feeling of one single step that could destroy your whole reputation in a way. But this is not fear related. It's just like, what? For what? Actually, what? Why? Why? You know, I think you were never a part of. You never really tried to fit in a way, right? Otherwise, you wouldn't have been a different, a weird banana, right? But I think the main reason why you thought maybe that you were online for so long and so actively was maybe to find the one, or true connections that go deeper, and connections that will make you, yeah, well, family, soul family, yeah. But nothing really was fruitful so far. It just ended up being manipulative, and you were always, probably if you look back now, you were always the one cashing in the bad things, and because maybe you didn't make money online, and it's just, why should you do that? And why would you even try to do it right now? It feels so senseless in a way. Nothing really makes sense anymore. The only thing that really makes sense is that you want to have adventure. That's what I'm getting with this. It's this movement toward adventure, and adventure is not. It's almost not. It's not even. It doesn't have to be real world travel. It could be the side effects of awakening that you want. The adventure that you want to go on is a more spiritual adventure, and consciousness and psychic abilities. But do you need to prove yourself of being able to be psychic now that you've walked a path of enlightenment and know that you're psychic? You don't need to prove yourself to anyone, and you don't even need to help anyone else to see that, right? And it feels to me also a bit of a trust thing. It's this, maybe it also pulls you into the future, always trying to do everything possible to chase someone, right? If you put yourself out there, just to look at, to find, to prove yourself to someone that you love, maybe that you don't even know yet, but it could also be someone that you already have met and that you think you speak to, right? And it's like, why should you do that? It's this trust. It's this, you don't want that from life. You want to have adventure, and in a way, that's the way to uncertainty, and you don't need to do that. And work your butt off, so to say, for what, right? You are not really interested in praise from others. At least not in this way, because it becomes another addiction, because the way that it has been set up, and you want to experience a path of spirituality and things like that, and this it doesn't fit together in a way. Money and this doesn't fit together, and also not achievements in this regard. And maybe also because the way online is set up and everything that you receive online, the messages and everything, it always gets into this dark thing. And to establish your own real connection, you need to pull the plug. Just because it's hollow. You've learned what you needed to learn. It doesn't seem that there's more to learn, except some scenarios that you could imagine just in your head how it works. But it doesn't feel worthy of you. I think you're worth more than what this grind is doing to you, and you know that. But it comes with a lot of sadness, because I think it's easier said than done again. It's this pulling the plug and letting it all fall down, and maybe yourself with it, because when you lose your dreams, the dreams that you thought you wanted for so long, and you are left with something you don't know yet, and it doesn't feel like, that's the thing about this uncertainty, and also this adventure thing. It doesn't feel like, even though it says movement towards adventure, you right now don't feel like there's a beautiful adventure ahead. And I think this reading is just a confirmation for you that if you decide to do so, and even though you feel like this and very sad, and also like all the work that you have done is for nothing, right? Just be grateful for the lessons that you learned, and just trust that you will go on an adventure that cannot be put into a frame like this. And an adventure that is free from manipulation, and hopefully, dream manipulation exists as well, right? So be aware of that. But it's just this, if you don't know what's ahead, and you have the feeling that, or the fear maybe even, that your life is going to be boring because this felt so intriguing for all those years, but it wasn't really, right? Then you just have to trust that there's a path for you that you can walk on, that you are going to walk on, that is so much more vibrant and full of life and full of adventure that you just cannot grasp yet. and whatever is meant to be will be, right? It's this silly word, divine timing. Right? It's a sad reading. So let's pull a Moonology card to wrap it all up. It's the sadness of, yeah, well, it has to be done. But you don't know what's ahead, right? Just know that you feel like this again. Even more so than before. Because maybe you have lost almost everything along the way. Believe in the impossible, and luck is on your side. Yeah. So there's something really nice waiting for you, and it's just been waiting for you to pull the plug. So yeah. Let's see who this reading is for. It feels collective, but Pisces. Yeah. Exactly. Pisces. Yeah. Additional info is in the letter box below, and see you next time. Bye bye.